I mean, how do I even review a toy that's this big? Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and that's right, today we are going to be taking a look at the half-scale Deadpool action figure from NECA Toys. Yeah, that's right. They were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to consider if they should. This is a massive action figure in scale, in weight. It's totally insane, and I'm going to do my very best to kind of run down this figure right here on video with you guys so we can all check it out. But first and foremost, let's give a very special thanks to the sponsor of this video, Megalopolis City of Collectibles. Megalopolis is your online Comic-Con. That's right, my friends. Not only is this a great online store for doing your latest collectibles and toy shopping, but they also have the latest in toy and collectible news and even feature some videos on their site like, hey, from that cool Pixel Dan guy there. Megalopolis has a fantastic rewards program, so if you're planning to do a lot of toy shopping, signing up for this loyalty program will allow you to accumulate points which you can use to earn store credit and get some other cool discounts. And when you're looking at something that is quite an expensive piece like this very collectible NECA Toys half-scale Deadpool, well, Megalopolis has got you covered because they offer a flexible payment plan. So that way you don't have to break the bank right off the bat just to order this beauty to add to your collection. So be sure to head on over to megalopolis.toys by following the link in this video's description. All right, so here we are, my friends. This is the half-scale Deadpool. You can see this thing standing on this little table. I've got him on a table, so he's obviously not on the ground, but he is on a table standing next to me, and you can see just how insanely big this action figure is. Now, this figure does come in like his very own shipping box. He doesn't have a package box. There's no window box. This guy is just housed inside of the actual shipper box from NECA Toys. Now, the cool thing is I got it from Megalopolis, so they put this inside of one of their own boxes, gave it some extra protection when they sent it to me. So keep that in mind for your ordering. But you can remove the styrofoam on the top there of that box, and it kind of just reveals Deadpool in this big giant shipping box like he's in a big old casket that was sent right to your house. But that's what you got there, man. You've got this amazingly huge Deadpool figure. He does come with several accessories, some interchangeable hands, which we are going to talk about. This thing right here stands 3 feet tall. He is almost right at that 3-foot mark. So when they say half scale, they mean like half the scale of a standard human. So if our standard human was like 6 foot tall, which is taller than me, I'm like 5'10", but still, bear with me here, 3 feet tall. So he's like half the size of an average person. That's what you can expect with this. But it's crazy because he's also loaded with 30 points of articulation. And let me tell you, this is a solid toy. I mean, he is so heavy. I've just got to find the right way to like hold him, to pick him up. It's crazy how heavy this toy is. And we're really going to get into that with the balance and everything too. I don't actually have a working scale right now. I wanted to actually get a proper measurement for him or a proper weight for him to tell you guys. But I can tell you that the box that he comes in says that he's about 9.5 kilograms, which is about 20 pounds. You got to understand some of that is going to account for the box and the packaging material. But I mean, seriously, guys, there is no shock to me at all that this thing is upwards of 20 pounds. I bet he's at least 12 to 15 pounds just by himself. It's crazy how heavy this thing is. He is solid. He's not like hollowed out or rotocast or anything like that. I mean, this is literally like NECA's quarter scale figures, the larger ones, blown up into half scale. It's crazy. And if you want to talk about the difference between those, here I've posed them with my quarter scale Shredder figure, and I thought those were huge. It's totally insane seeing how much Deadpool towers over those quarter scale figures from NECA Toys. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So let's start talking about the overall details here. Obviously, when we're in this bigger scale, they can get a little more detailed with the actual sculpts. And it's not like NECA has never done that with their smaller figures. I mean, the sculpted details have always been really, really amazing with their stuff. It's something I've always gushed about whenever I review a NECA Toys product. But the details on this Deadpool are fantastic. You got everything from the ridges seen in the red on the uniform there. You got the nice little rivets that's seen on the mask. You got all that great work. You can actually see the wrinkles and everything around his eyes, like through his mask there. The shoulder pads almost have like this leathery type look to them. Again, nice silver rivets in there. So everything is painted beautifully on this guy. The paint deco looks nice and crisp and clean all the way across. And he's got some great kind of shading going on there as well in the paint deco. So he does almost have like this more comic book grittier look to him. He's not like super bright and super colorful. Very toned down reds. Got that very dark look to him. But he is fantastic. I especially love on the gauntlets there. He's got this like worn, scratched kind of metal look to the gauntlets of the gloves. And the belt has like this very cool leathery look to it. It even looks like it's got like the stitching on all the pouches for the leather. Just all in all, he looks really, really great. So he's got a bunch of accessories. And I want to talk about the accessories before we get into the articulation. Because when I'm showing you the articulation, it's going to be a bit of a struggle holding this thing and like lifting him around. But first of all, I'm going to flip him around to the backside so you can see what we've got going on here. Because he does have his little sheath that plugs into his back. That's something you have to plug in separate. But once you put it on, you can pull it off, but it holds on really nice and tight. It just has little pegs there. There's a little notch on the back of his bandolier. So you can just press that in and you can see it holds very nicely. And you'll see that this is holding both of his katanas and his one sai weapon. So talking about the accessories, the details are really great on these. If you have any of the quarter scale NECA figures, the material on these feels very similar to those. So I would say that these are not going to be very sturdy. I would not recommend you grab these, and even though they're big, don't run around and bash them around and try to sword fight and stuff, because I think especially the sai, you'll eventually break. It does feel like it could break. Now, it looks great. The paint is awesome on the wraps. They almost have this kind of dirty look to the tape that's wrapped around the handle, and it's got a nice kind of silver finish to the blade itself. But the katanas are even cooler, and you can see that they do kind of lock in place on the sheaths, which is really great. So we can pull those out there, and when you really look at the blades on these, first of all, it's like a two-tone silver, so the blade, the sharp part of it's got a shinier silver finish, and then you've got like these little etchings in there, which is great because it's like exclamation points and question marks and dollar signs and hashtags and all kinds of silly stuff going on there. And then when you look at the actual like hilt there, it's got the Deadpool insignia. It's very cool looking. Both of those katanas are just like that. And let me pull these out here. I want to hold them so you can see how they look to me. I mean, they're not like full-size katanas for me, but they're half-size katanas. And you're definitely going to be tempted to like run around and swing these around. But you can see they do wobble a little bit. And seriously, I probably wouldn't do a lot of actual fighting with these because they probably could break. But they look fantastic. They're very cool. And then the other accessory that I want to show you on Deadpool is down here on his leg. You can pull out his little knife, his little blade. And this is really cool because it's got like the little rivets that perfectly holds for his fingers. Again, it's got a nice worn look to the metal on there. So very, very cool stuff. Now, there is a gun holstered on his right hip. The gun does look like it's a sculpted separate piece, but it is permanently attached to the figure. It is glued in place or something. You cannot remove it. I wouldn't be surprised if they had intended for that gun to be an accessory, but because of the size and the realistic look of it, probably some laws got in the way and they couldn't really do it without putting an orange tip on it or something, so they opted to just glue it in. That's me speculating, but I would not be surprised at all if that's the reason why that is glued in place. So that's going to bring me to my next point. We've got some interchangeable hands. So he's got two just kind of gripping hands right now. He comes with 3 total gripping hands for the right and then 2 different hands for the left. So first, let's talk about these gripping hands on the right. Right now, so all of the gripping hands look very similar. They are just like slightly different sizes of grips, and it's because you've got it sized like for the sai or the knife, which is the hand I've got him on there right now. And you can see he gets a really great grip on that. I mean, it is a nice, tight, solid grip, but it's also easy to put the accessory in his hand, which is something I really appreciate. I don't feel like I have to force it. I don't feel like it's gonna break. If you wanna swap the hands out, it works just like your smaller figures. It's just a little bit harder. You gotta kind of tug it off. I do wanna point out, like, the paint definitely peels off the peg. Not a huge deal because the peg, is inside the arm of the figure, but it is gonna peel off the first couple times you swap it in and out. But we can easily just pop the new one in. And so this size right here is gonna be perfect for his katanas. And again, look at that. Look at that. I got it in there very easy. I didn't feel like I was forcing it, but he's got a real nice tight grip on it, so you can get him posed with those katanas there. Now that's gonna bring me to that last hand. That last hand is a bigger grip, and it does look like it's got a trigger finger on it, and it's too big to hold on to these other accessories, like the knife and the sai, and it's even a little too big for the sword, which leads me to believe that this was made for that gun before the gun was permanently attached to the figure. So unfortunately, this last hand is almost useless unless you just want to pose him with nothing in his hand. That does look almost a little bit more relaxed than the other hands. His last hand is for the left, and this one's a lot of fun because he's throwing up the devil horns and he's wearing rings that says Deadpool. So that way you can inject a little bit of personality into your Deadpool if you want to display him that way. I love it. It's totally Deadpool. It's a really fun accessory. Okay, so this is the part where I have to talk about the articulation. So he's got 30 points of articulation. And let me see if I can just do my best to show you guys here while we're staying on camera. So of course the head can go left, it can go right. You can see it moves up and down. It's got a nice hinge joint in there. Works really good. One thing you're gonna notice with this, all the joints are really tight, and that is very good when you've got a figure that's this big and this heavy. So that's what we've got at the head. There's no other neck joint here. This is all solid. He does have an ab crunch. Look at that. And you hear that ratchet? That's good. It's good that it's that tight, but we've got that nice tight ratchet joint. We can also swivel at the waist just a little bit. It looks like that's about as far as he turns there. All right, so here we go. This is where things are getting a little crazy. So the arms, so we do have the shoulder joints where they can go outwards, like up, like that. We can swivel at the bicep. We can swivel at the wrist. You got double joints at the elbow. Man, can you guys even hear me over all the clicking? Double joints at the elbow, and it's very, very tight ratchet joints, which is really great. The wrists are actually the most loose of everything, but not like they're not drooping or anything. They just don't have the ratchet joints. But that's because they've got those interchangeable pegs. So that's what we can get out of the hands. The double elbows are really nice, so you can get some good poses with the katanas. Okay. I'm starting to push them off my table here. This is where things are getting real crazy. So here, I'm going to get kind of... Oh, it's so heavy. Okay. So the legs. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there we go. We can kind of spread the legs out a little bit. This is totally bananas. Okay. Real tight joints at the hips, which is good. The joints at the hips have to be tight because this dude is so heavy, he needs to be able to balance. You'll notice I am not getting very wide stances out of the legs. They're not moving forwards and backwards too much. You can swivel them real tight. So you're going to get a little bit of motion there out of them. You got double joints at the knees. I just dropped the knife because it just fell out of there. But double joints at the knees, real tight ratchets. And then those ankles, look at that. Oh, the ankles are also very tight. And then you can even, the toes have joints too. Oh, it's so tight. It's really hard to actually like do that. It's almost like you need teamwork. You need teamwork with this thing to like really pose it around. But like I can't imagine you're gonna be doing a ton of posing with it. Like this is one of those things that you're gonna like mess around with a little bit, find a neat pose that he's gonna stay in, and then you're gonna display him that way, and then maybe you'll change it up every now and then just for some variance with him. But I wanted to show you that the best I could. It's one of those things too where you really do have to mess with it. You have to get the right joints clicked in place on the ankles because you want to keep them balanced. So you can see right now I'm kind of holding them because I got to find the right balance. I mess with this toe joint here. Oh my gosh, I'm just dropping everything now. There we go. Look, he's kind of in a different pose now, but look, he's balancing. So that's just one thing you definitely want to be careful of. I haven't had any problems with the joints at all, like being loose or anything, but you still have to find that right balance when clicking those ankles and knees and everything in place, because he's such a heavy action figure. And I would be careful if you're planning to put him up high on a shelf, because gravity is gonna win in the end, and I would hate for this guy to come toppling down off of a tall shelf. But this dude's big enough you can stand him on the floor or a low shelf, and I think he's gonna do just fine. Seriously, this thing is totally insane. Like, I'm blown away by how good it is. The details are awesome. He's been a lot of fun to play with. I mean, seriously, my son is under 4 feet tall. Probably around 45, 46 inches tall. This thing is 36 inches tall. Look at them side by side. I mean, it's insane. This isn't an action figure that you are buying. This is a new member of your family. That is how big this thing is. It's completely insane, and in the best possible way. So there you go, my friends. That is a look at the NECA Toys half-scale Deadpool action figure. Ooh, this thing is... It's just, I don't even know. I've said crazy a million times. Have I said bonkers yet? It's bonkers. It's so bonkers that this thing exists. If you are a big Deadpool fan, if you love the stuff that NECA's doing, I do think that you're going to love adding this as a nice discussion piece to your collection. It's a nice centerpiece for your collection. It is definitely not on the cheap side of things. This retails for over $600 US, so it's going to be an investment. But again, special thanks to my sponsor over at Megalopolis Toys. They do offer payment plans if this is something that you think you do want to add to your collection. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of this bonkers toy, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, my friends.